Hello, hello, and welcome, or should I say ho, 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 Christmas cousins. I'm Cousin Chad.
Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Mr. Greenwald's represented here. He will not be responding. Do not direct any comments or questions to him. I'm Bob Baker. I'm his defense counsel.
Wow, the wheels of justice are turning. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very, very special episode of the Christmas Cousins podcast. Welcome, everybody, of course, our live studio audience, the few that could get tickets and get in. As you know, for those of you who have listened, or if you're brand new to the show, I'm Cousin Chad. I absolutely love the holidays, the Christmas season, and I found out my cousin Seth, my beloved cousin Seth, was doing nothing for the holidays. I mean, he would walk in during prime peppermint mocha season into a grocery store and walk out with just a black coffee. And it was heresy, Seth. It was terrible. So I said, let's do a journey. Let's start a podcast, a journey, and take you through the seasons, introduce you to all the fun, meet some great people along the way, and see how your journey grows. Is there going to be growth? Will you love it? Will you hate it? Will you drink a lot of eggnog and puke live on air in our best episodes ever? And that's what happened. So today, we're here to decide your fate, though, because we were on and we were reviewing your third year, or your second full year. We're now in our third year. And we wanted to see, you went from a festive freshman to a seasonal sophomore. And have you grown enough? Have you done enough, Cousin Seth, to be promoted to a jolly junior? Should you be held back as a seasonal sophomore? Or will you be demoted all the way back to festive freshman? Maybe. Will you be decapitated, meet Madame Guillotine? As you see over here, we have a candy cane striped guillotine ready for you. We have panelists here. We have esteemed guests.
Objection. This is all argumentative.
You'll have your time, counselor. We've got counselors. We've got two people here working as attorneys here, faux attorneys, who, it's funny, two guys who have never passed a bar in their life. Anytime they see a bar, they go right in and start drinking. So we'll see how this goes. Let me introduce our esteemed panel. First of all, the man of the hour, always the man of the hour, Cousin Seth. Everybody welcome Cousin Seth, of course.
Hello. I think I've been approved to say that. So.
Okay.
Thank
I wouldn't
you
say
everyone for coming.
You got to whisper to me first, though, and then I'll tell you if you can.
You should plead the seventh. Next up, we have the king of all superfans himself, Lee. He's listened to almost every minute of this wacky show. He drives around a lot, and that's all he gets on his radio. We've rigged it that way. King of all superfans, Lee, who's going to be here as a panelist today, asking questions, moving things along. Welcome, Lee. Thank you for joining us, as always.
Impartial and open-minded Cousin Lee today.
I was worried about that because I know you and Cousin Seth have sort of formed a bromance. I'm glad to hear the impartial part. Next,
I know nothing of this.
Right.
Okay. We are going to next introduce the defense attorney, the attorney for Cousin Seth, the one and only from the Festive Foreign Film Fans podcast, of which I'm a huge fan, even though I can't get a mention on air, even though I email all the time. Festive Foreign Film Fans, the co-host, or I would say the main host right here. We have Bob Baker, everybody. Bob Baker, welcome back.
Thank you.
Bob, you've been on many times. Most of the times you have a beer in your hand. I see you're taking this a little more seriously. You only have whiskey today, which is interesting. So welcome. And of course, we have returning guest. He's been on the show probably more times than I have. We have the Christmas aficionado himself acting as the prosecution. He's taking this very seriously and looking super dapper in his three-piece suit. For those of you who watched the last episode, the whole episode became about Joe's sartorial choices and his fashion. He's got his hair gelled back, ladies and gentlemen. He did not come to play. He's looking like Tom Cruise in whatever that lawyer movie he was in. Welcome, Joe.
Hello. You guys can't handle the truth.
Wow, I like that. By the way, Joe is a monetized YouTube channel, and you can tell in that nice three-piece Hugo Boss suit he's wearing. It is amazing, Joe.
That is nice.
I have to correct you. It's not a Hugo Boss. This is a Brook Brothers.
Oh, Brook Brothers. That's cheaper than Brooks Brothers. That is impressive. And last, but of course not least, we have the ultimate arbiter of what's going to happen here. He is known throughout the world of podcast and of course within the Christmas space. He is a beloved figure, and he's the only person we could think of with the omniscience, the wisdom to really come down with this decision and decide Seth's fate. Everybody, take a breath and welcome the one and only, the inimitable Bran.
Get down.
They won't. They're too excited.
This is serious. And I know I usually I bring the chuckles. I try to have a happy heart. Today, though, is no laughing matter. We're going to take this very seriously. We're going to get to the bottom of this. And listen, nobody wants you to go backwards. No one wants you to become a freshman again. But if I have to, and I pray to the good Lord that I don't, I will do what needs to be done to make sure that justice is on our side. I didn't think it through how I was going to finish it. Justice is on our side.
That's all.
That's enough.
It's on our side.
That's all we ask is fair and impartiality, Your Eminence.
No one
Don't
asked
try
you.
to-
Come on.
Already,
That's
right.
keep him under wraps, would you, Bob? Please. So, Bran, you're able, because everybody gets under Cousin Seth's spell and charmed by him. You're able to be impartial. Is that correct? Give us the breaking news right now. Will you be impartial?
I am here because I'm the most impartial person I know. I don't care if you're my blood.
Wow.
If I don't think that you've earned it, I'm not going to give it to you, baby. I am here to listen to the cold hard facts and make a decision, and that's exactly what I intend to do.
Look at those steely eyes. Look at that. He's ready.
Breaking news: Joe is Bran is trying to withstand Cousin Seth's gaze and his spell. You might not want to look into his camera. He will win you over. It happens to every guest. I don't even know. We're all here. We do the work for Seth, and he just smiles. So here we go. We're going to get right into it because we're keeping it a tight show. Everyone's waiting. We've all been sequestered. No one's spoken to the press. There was a 60 Minutes episode about this trial last night that I saw. They had it all wrong. We're going to clarify things today. Opening statements right now. We're going to get right into it. Joe the Christmas Aficionado. You know his YouTube channel, Christmas Aficionado. You love it. Joe, open us up. Let's go. It's time to do battle.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you for all who are listening, and Judge Bran and Lee watching on. Yes, hold that axe up firmly. I think we may need it. So today we are going to just figure out exactly how Seth became a seasonal sophomore. So the Christmas Cousin podcast opens each episode with Chad telling us that he's the holiday devotee. And Seth, his cousin, was a festive freshman and now a seasonal sophomore, embarking on a joyous journey through the seasons as Chad guides Seth through the whimsical wonders of the Christmas holiday, as only AI can write. Correct?
Only AI can write, yes.
Yeah. So starting in 2023, Seth was introduced to the Christmas holiday where he did embrace parts of the holiday. And the plan was that he would accomplish that in his first year. But that wasn't completed. 1 year later, Seth has regressed. Yet somehow we call him the seasonal sophomore. But why? And how did Seth achieve this illegal promotion? There's a bigger conspiracy here that I plan to expose today. So, yes, I worked on that.
Yes, you did. I have to say, you read much better on our show than you do on the Christmas morning podcast. Where there was some reading issues. This is great. Thank you.
The font is a lot bigger today. So,
Okay.
So in 2023, Seth did a number of different things. He drank eggnog. He tried it. He spit it up. He didn't like it. But there were a lot of things that he didn't do. He didn't visit Santa. He didn't sit on Santa's lap. He did not watch every movie that he was asked to watch. There were times that he didn't even show up for his own show that I got called in to substitute in for him. The worst thing,
object at any time, Bob.
It's just the opening statement.
It's opening statement. It's
Okay.
Let him just
but
go
the worst part of it,
We're used to criminal court.
Christmas
Sorry.
2023. Seth is supposed to celebrate Christmas for the first time. And what does he do on Christmas Day? He stared at a wall. His words, he stared at a wall and he played music for his animals. That's how Seth celebrated Christmas. Yet somehow, Chad declared him a seasonal sophomore. But why? So let's think about this. How do you pass to the next level in school or even playing a game when you don't take a test? Did he pass a test? No. Ooh. I would like to introduce to you that there is evidence that a test was discussed. We discussed a possible way for Seth to achieve this goal. But it didn't happen. And today I am going to discuss and show and expose what actually happened and why and how Seth did not become a seasonal sophomore. I think he needs to start over as a festive freshman, and I am going to prove that today.
The crowd just gasped in collective sigh. That was amazing. Bran, that was just the opening statement. And Lee, you guys can jump in whenever you want. My mind is blown. This is much more serious than I thought it was going to get this early on.
Oh, I'll just say this. You got your work cut out for you, Bob. That was a masterclass in opening statements. And I do this a lot. I do this for a living. So that was, but again, still open mind. I'm ready to be swayed.
Not only am I worried for Seth, at this point, I think Chad might be on trial as well.
Yeah,
That's what it sounds like to me, right? He's
Chad, it
exposing
doesn't
a
seem like you're
conspiracy.
taking this seriously enough.
I know. Apparently, it seems like he's setting us up to be some kind of Illuminati, Seth. It's a conspiracy, not a meritocracy here, and I'm worried about this. So we'll see. I don't want to be in with you.
I think we were reading it a different way, and correct me if I'm wrong, but thinking that was the different tests and obstacles that you put before me in my journey, they may have not been adequate. Like,
Oh,
No, I think they were more than adequate, more than past them. Are we ready?
yeah. Don't concede that. Okay, but I like how he's casting aspersions on me now and trying to put me on trial. Bran, give him the death sentence. I mean, whatever you want to do is fine with me. Bob, you're up now for your opening statements.
Well, thank you for that creative excess and exaggeration, Mr. Aficionado. Now, may it please the court, in your honor, Judge Bran and our lone juror, Lee, I want to thank you for your public service. I know that you sit today in judgment of this man, Seth Greenwald. He is an individual whose only crime here was his agreement to go on a very public quest to discover the very heart and soul of the Christmas holiday. Together, we have all watched him for over a year as he's learned and grown and come to love this festive celebration. Now, I admit, there were a few stumbles, some choking, gagging, some retching, but he always overcame those misfortunes. But I ask you to imagine, judge and jury, where would you be now if it were 105 BC? You would be sitting in a similar fashion, but in a coliseum, cheering for blood, just as you are being asked to do so today. In America, we don't just watch our celebrities, we hunt them. It's a cultural sport where we host our stars onto gleaming pedestals. We have crowned Seth with adoration as a festive freshman and a seasonal sophomore. Yippee! But then just when he's ready to advance to a jolly junior, the bored crowd grows tired of his original mission and they want to kick that pedestal out from under him for his inevitable takedown. And I say, this isn't mere entertainment, gentlemen. It's a ritual cycle of worship, idolization, and then rejection. And only you can stop this today. You can do it here. Look around. The positive evidence of Seth's advancement is everywhere. In the past year, he has viewed 8 Hallmark movies. He attended Mrs. X's family's Christmas party, and he brought gifts for the host, the kids, and the adults, and participated in all the games. But most importantly, he met with the big man. He sat on his lap, and it was well documented by a photograph that I have submitted as Exhibit A. And I ask, how many of you, judge or jury, can say the same? Think about it. We build our celebrities up, and then we tear them down, and we love every gory minute of it. Is this the true Christmas spirit? We didn't just admire Seth. We loved his childish innocence, his awkward enthusiasm, his gastrointestinal distress. He was untouchable, flawless. He was ours to adore until now. This pedestal isn't a throne. It's a trap. His fall is supposed to be where the fun really begins. The moment when our Seth flounders, say, by mistaking the silken goodness of the liquid gold of eggnog with the taste of bubblegum. Suddenly, the public is ready to pounce. They're demanding his blood and they want to feast on it. We don't forgive him, we dissect him. And the higher we've lifted Seth, the more satisfying we think his crash will be. Well, Judge Bran, Lee, are you going to be pawns in this uncharitable game? I mean, some might argue, look, this is just the cost of Seth's fame. It's a fair trade for his wealth and his influence. But that is unfair. He is a rare wonder. He sees the world without cynicism. For Seth, he is already a jolly junior. He does not need the title, but it would be inherently cruel to deny it to him. Seth sees every Christmas tree, the colorful lights, and the wrapped gifts with incredible delight. His imagination is more important than his destruction. So I ask you to, don't join in this blood sport. We have invited him to be part of the Christmas experience. He's lit the candles. He sang all the Christmas carols. But you are still waiting for him to slip. And you are being asked today to push him. Don't do it. I demand justice for our Seth. As long as we keep playing this game, keep cheering, that gladiator arena will stay open. And the only question is, after Seth, who's going to be next in the ring? Thank you.
Could somebody check on the judge, please? I think he's asleep.
No, I'm taking.
There we go.
I'm taking this all in. Was it a little long? Yeah, it was, but
A lot.
But listen. At the end of the day, this is going to come down to cold hard evidence. It's going to come down to evidence, not just hearsay, not just some nice stories that you can tell. We're going to need to see it, and I think that's what we're going to hopefully get to the bottom of it.
I like that. Bran's keeping it on point. As we know, Bob uses his tongue prettier than, well, let's just say he's very eloquent, especially when it's not a drinking show. That was beautiful. But the facts are stubborn things, as John Adams once said, and the facts are what are going to determine the outcome here. Bob, beautiful opening statement. Joe, beautiful opening statement. You heard the crowd gasp numerous times collectively, which is wonderful. Bran, thank you for keeping an open head and not being lulled into his eloquence. Lee, thank you for keeping us on track. And Cousin Seth, I see you're trying. Trust in your attorney. He's very good, I can tell.
Absolutely.
So here we go. Next up, we're going to present some of the facts themselves and see how we go. And by the way, we're on track. I'm not distracted, even though I'm dying to know exactly more about what kind of jacket that Joe is wearing, the vest piece, where he got it. I'm going to not digress and stay on it. The vest is working, though, the three-piece. Joe, you are back up. It is your floor. You heard his opening statement. And a few times I even saw maybe some looks by you where you said, okay, but then you didn't let it sway you. You were waving him off. Joe, your thoughts? And I want to hear some evidence as to why you think Seth, because you're saying he shouldn't just be held back. He should be demoted all the way to Festive Freshman. Joe, the floor is yours.
I'd like to call my first witness. My first witness would be Seth.
Oh, hold on. We're gasping.
So, Seth, I've got a few questions for you.
Answer only the question, Seth. Yes or no.
How?
Judge, is this allowed? This witness is allowed, correct?
We didn't have
This
prep.
witness is allowed.
Yeah,
yes.
it's a surprise witness.
So,
Don't worry.
It's a surprise.
You'll be able to cross-examine. Don't worry.
Okay.
So last year, Seth, you put up a tree. It had a sad 3 ornaments on it that hung. But this year, you decided not to get a tree. Why is that?
The previous year, as indicated on some podcast, I had some trouble with the resident animals, trying to contain it. I explored a couple of different options, and at the end of the day, I wasn't able to go with a real or artificial tree.
You couldn't have any tree.
So you're going to blame cats and dogs for
children.
So you're declaring your defense is you hate cats, dogs, and children, Seth? That is your defense here?
Hey,
No.
you're leading the witness.
Sorry, you're right.
Objection.
There were limiting factors in my life, personal and otherwise, that prevented me from it. I still have the stand for the tree. I did go out and look at some artificial ones. And again, I found myself with the same problem with the resident animals. There was a discussion with Mrs. X, as everyone has come to know. If not, that is my current.
Mrs. X, for those who don't know, is Cousin Seth Paramore, his partner, long-term now girlfriend for over a year that he started dating while we were on air. And we've actually been able to follow the journey. And she's been a big role. And she's a Christmas lover herself. So she's been good for this. It should have gone further. But what Joe is arguing is even with Mrs. X's influence, you are still saying, because you have pets, you are not able to have trees. Interesting.
Don't expose my surprise witness.
So
That would be great.
you went and looked at trees and decided that you were able to have one because of your animals. Is that correct? Yes or no?
Not entirely, but yes.
Okay. A number of us have animals. I have 2 cats. I have a dog.
Relevant.
I have trees.
Objection. Relevant.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So your excuse is that your animals were going to disrupt your tree. Yet we are made to believe that you're one of the richest men in the world.
Yes.
And
Top 10, I would say.
so if that is the case, and you have multiple houses, why can't we separate the animals and the tree?
I like the animals with me in my
And he
primary
doesn't like
residence.
the tree.
In my primary residence, they are much as need me for emotional support as I need them. So it's imperative that we be in the same space as I am home here.
I can vouch that my cousin needs emotional support. I can vouch for that, yes.
Okay, well, let's
Your statement
move
about
on.
my incredible wealth or alleged incredible wealth, I think if discovery were done, it might tell a different story, but that's not why we're here today. So,
What can you tell us about the guitar that's hanging on your wall behind you?
Thank you, Bran. Thank you.
Oh.
Good question.
I didn't even know that was up there. That's actually a prototype that I'm working on with the Gibson Corporation.
Can we do a fit check?
Santa one. No,
I'm sorry, Lee, you're looking for a fit check? That guitar is $2,500, Bran. We covered it on an earlier episode when I spotted the same thing, one of many that he has.
That's what I feared.
Thank you. Lee, the panelist is asking for something. Yes, Lee?
Yes, a fit check, please. We need to understand his Christmas spirit on his trial day.
Interesting. Seth, fit check, please.
Of course. My blazer, my
Look at
Okay.
that.
llama.
Very nice.
Yes,
Very nice.
a t-shirt underneath, just some nice pants.
Are you wearing Christmassy socks to help your cause, Seth?
I am not wearing socks.
He's not wearing socks, ladies and
That's
gentlemen.
very
What a
summary of you.
So I'm going to
disgracing the
object to
court.
this check that this should be entered into evidence because he never wears this. He's wearing this only for the trial to get the judge to believe that he is in the Christmas spirit. So I'm going to object.
Your Honor,
Wow.
he is making just statements, broad statements. I don't believe that Mr. Aficionado lives with my client. I don't think he sees what my client wears every day.
We'll
So you're-
allow it. We'll allow it.
Okay. Thank you.
Judge, may I ask a favor of the court?
Sure.
So, Seth, I know you love having camera and mic time all to yourself with nobody talking. And as we look back at your utter failures, whether it's not having enough peppermint mochas, not having a Christmas tree, I would like the court to remain silent for 30 solid seconds so Seth can tell us, while he failed there, where did he go above and beyond to maintain and push forward? with the holiday spirit. We're at 25 minutes, 25:35. Let's go, Seth.
Wow.
Silence.
Love it.
Well, as you know, I dabble in various different things, and one of the jobs that I was doing, they have annual Christmas or holiday party. I took it on myself. They've done it before. I'm not going to say they didn't, but they wanted to have a party, and I took it on myself. Everyone knowing that I have a Christmas podcast, and did the decorations for the 2 rooms. That involved decorating the tables, hanging the streamers, all that stuff. Hanging stuff in the ceiling, ornaments in the ceiling.
Can you elaborate on hanging in the ceiling, please?
Oh, yes. I would put paper clips. I would bend paper clips and put them through ornaments and then put that through the probably asbestos-ridden ceiling.
So you're damaging personal property.
No, I was given the go-ahead by the operations manager.
So you're saying your love of Christmas has become so strong that you risked mesothelioma dealing with asbestos to hang things. Interesting,
Yes,
Seth. That's going to be hard to overcome. Good point.
Hey, Your Honor, since they had direct questioning, can I do cross-examination of my client?
I have one more.
As long as you please finish.
I haven't rested yet. You got to let me go for that. So I have one
First
more.
time in court, Bob?
Well, no, we had all these people jumping in. I'm confused.
I got to be honest. I've never had a juror ask questions before.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm more than a juror.
So
Christmas Cousins Court.
we've learned that first year Seth gets a treat. Second year he doesn't. He makes up excuses that he couldn't buy one because a cat might jump on the tree. God forbid. You could tie it down. You could do a number of things.
Let's keep to the facts and not any of those personal feelings, please.
Okay,
Fair,
that's fine.
fair.
That's fine. So here's the facts. Season 2, or I don't know, whatever year 2 of the
Year
Christmas
2,
Cousin
season
podcast.
27.
I don't know what season they're in. He only saw 8 Hallmark movies this year.
Wait, is there a question here?
I'm
It's
leading to the
argumentative.
question. Seth, I would like you to confirm that you did not watch all of the Hallmark Christmas movies that you were asked for, the Christmas movies that were not Hallmark related that you were asked to watch, the number of peppermint mochas that you were required to drink, the Santa suit that never saw the light of day. There's one other thing, and I believe that has to do with going to a festive live broadcast of Bob's podcast, a live event that you said you would be there.
Wow. So let me just
And the
clarify
next
for the
day-
judge. May I clarify this?
Duke, that was a bit of
One
a
other thing.
rambling list.
One other thing that I want you to confirm that you did not do. You were part of a Christmas movie. Great. Have we ever heard about that?
Whoa.
Did I not send you a clip of you in it? I don't recall ever hearing a discussion on the Christmas Cousin podcast of that, watching that film.
Wow,
Please
my
confirm,
humble client.
have you done any of that stuff?
Any attention to himself? He
been a murder.
He evokes the true Christmas spirit.
Wow. Can I say, when you're talking about appearing on a podcast, Bran, he was supposed to go see his attorney, Bob's live podcast show. He did a live episode, which was great, at Duke's, not far from him in Illinois. Seth did fail to show. I'm just presenting the facts. The other fact, Joe, you might have forgotten to ask, and this may be pertinent to the judge, how many episodes of Deck the Hallmark did he listen to this season? I'm just throwing it out there for you,
true.
Joe. I'm impartial.
That is
Seth,
true.
that's part of the season for the rest of us here watching. Christmas morning, Deck the Hallmark.
Well, there's a lot there, I think, to everyone. So,
Just ask, yes or no.
I
Did
guess.
you do all those things or not?
So beginning, I would say for the most part I did. If I can break it down. So you talked about the first thing was watching the movies. I'm not sure that we had a final total, but I will tell you that I watched every movie that we did a broadcast or review attached to. Number
He
one.
watched every movie he watched, is what he's saying. Okay.
The peppermint mocha. Oh, sorry. The peppermint mocha thing became a bit blurred. It was good. It did require a big departure from my daily, usual, regular thing that I do with my dry piece of rye bread and latte or coffee, just black coffee. So it would have been a huge disruption to my digestive tract. It did coincide with my annual physical. I'm not going to say my physician advised not to do it, but there wasn't any sort of excitement around the idea.
Who's your physician? The Grinch? He tells you not to have peppermint mochas? It's terrible.
Well, not to the extent that you guys were locking me into. So he's
Cousin
like, that
Seth, can
could
I
be
defend you for
dangerous.
1 second? I'm impartial. I'm pointing out all sides. Judge Bran, my uncle Joel, who's Cousin Seth's father, is diabetic. So maybe Seth did have some valid
I was
health
going to ask a
concerns.
follow-up there. Are the health concerns there? Did your doctor advise you to stay away from sweets? You keep bringing up doctors with no real evidence behind it. What did the doctor actually tell you to do?
Thank you for
Doctor
asking.
of philosophy.
Yes. Thank you for asking, Your Holiness. My doctor, he put me on a statin, which, as we know, is for cholesterol, things that can produce an increase in cholesterol, dairy products, and things like that. So, yeah,
Seems
it was
convenient.
a precautionary thing.
Timing a little
There is
convenient.
dairy
for me.
and peppermint mochas. That is true.
Do you
Eggnog
have
as
proof
well,
of
sir.
this doctor's visit, Seth? Because I never heard of this, and we talk all the time. Of you going to a doctor.
I do.
Objection relevant.
He's with, because I am HIPAA, I do not have to reveal that.
Interesting.
That's not how HIPAA works, but yes.
I think we need to continue
You're a hipster.
answering the questions. Can you address
Oh.
why you did not attend the live podcast recording?
That would've been
Or
festive.
the reason why we did not hear about this amazing Mario Lopez movie you were in?
Oh, fascinating.
I think it's a little blurry because I know we talked about it. I know when you sent the image, and I know we did some promotion for it, social media stuff.
By
and
we,
stuff.
of course, you mean me.
You did not.
Yeah.
I would like to point out. I would like to point out that our witness is lying.
Oh.
When the movie aired, there was no discussion about that. There was no image posted of look,
My client
Seth is
didn't
in a
say-
Mario Lopez movie.
He didn't say after the movie. He said there was promotion of the movie. They discussed it. It might have been before it. He never said it was after you sent the image.
I know. I asked. My question was, why was there never discussion about in a review of the movie? Why did that not happen?
Did you at least mention the movie on the podcast at any point in time during the holiday season?
Oh, absolutely. Before it came out, absolutely, and when it came out.
So Mr. Aficionado. So is it just not up to your standard?
It did not. Was never discussed during the holiday season. It was discussed when he recorded it.
What's this guy
Was it-
thinking?
But
Sounds
when it
smart.
aired, the day that it aired, in fact, I question whether or not Seth even watched the movie because I actually had to send him the clip of him in it.
Whoa, this is
may I ask
major.
And I question what park bench he found you off of.
Sir.
Order in the court.
I need to
What
calm my
network
client
was
down.
the
Now
movie
witness.
on? What network was the movie on?
American Family.
Okay, so
oh my
here,
gosh.
right,
American
you not
Family.
knowing the
Yeah,
network,
life.
I think, is a good argument for not talking
Excuse
about
me.
it. You don't
Great
wanna-
American Family. Great American
Yeah.
Family Network with Mario
No
Lopez.
one knows where that network is, and so I see why it was an uphill battle for you.
Wow.
That
And
is
who was the-
extremely
who was the other-
relevant.
And who
worst
was
of the
other
network.
star of the movie?
Who was the star of the movie?
Yes, besides Mario Lopez.
Courtney Lopez, his wife, his real life wife.
Okay.
Okay.
So you admit you were on this great American channel that no one watches, but you were on it. Okay, interesting. Okay, so that's your argument. Okay, very good. Now, I think, Joe, you've made some excellent points. Let me just summarize.
Yeah.
You're saying he had no tree. He didn't watch Hallmark movies or Christmas movies during December. He was in a movie, yet failed to discuss it afterwards and have a full review of it, which would have been festive. He didn't go to his own attorney and friend Bob's Festive Foreign Film Fans live podcast, even though it was about 15 minutes from his house, and he was at the bar across the street, from what I've understood, and other things. He didn't have a tree because he has pets. Now, I think all of us here have pets, and we all have trees.
Yes.
So that may invalidate that. Bran,
So-
Judge, I'm sorry, do you have pets?
Too many, yes.
So
And you have trees.
Many.
Do your pet? I just want to ask him: do your pets die every year? One pet at least because of having a tree.
My dog did just die. So that's pretty tough for you to bring that up right now. I'm
Ooh.
kidding. He really did die, but
This is
I don't
aggressive.
Remember, he's on the prosecution. He's on.
I don't believe that it was because of the Christmas tree. That is interesting. Mr. Bob, would you like to cross-examine your own client?
Yes, thank you.
Please. All right, Seth. How you've learned about the customs and traditions of Christmas through this Christmas Cousin adventure, haven't you?
I have many.
And have you watched the Charlie Brown Christmas?
Yes, I have. Yes,
And
I
have you watched the Grinch that saves Christmas? How the Grinch Stole Christmas? Have you watched that?
The Grinch
The
that trails off.
original. I have seen the Jim Carrey one.
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
So, Seth, what is your feeling about the commercialization of Christmas?
Oh wow. Obviously.
So let me
before.
let me make this easier for you.
Yes.
Do you think the spirit, in the true spirit and joy of Christmas, is reflected in the things that we have?
Absolutely not.
Do you think it's reflected in the decorations that we put out?
No. They were just things I think that came out around the celebration, but they're not necessary.
Where does that true spirit of Christmas come from?
In the person, the communal gathering, the feeling, the spirit that, can't be bought or.
All of which you participated in this holiday season, right? With Mrs. X and her family?
Yeah, some would say tenfold.
Now, Seth, have you ever tried to monetize Christmas through a YouTube channel?
Never.
So have you ever tried to make money off of the holiday?
Mr. Bob, order.
Call the fire department. There's been a burn.
No further questions.
I object.
I'm actually trying to promote Christmas and the feeling. I know I talked about on the show my love for a little town of South Haven, Michigan, and falling in love with it and starting things there. And it's a very idyllic Christmas town in the winter time. Very.
Who's on trial here? You or the town of South Haven? You don't work for the tourism board. I believe Judge Bran was trying to say something. It's not a good idea to upset the judge.
Sorry.
I was just trying. The Mr. Aficionado is not on the stand here. He is not. And so, Juror Lee, I'm going to ask you not to remember the fact that there was a character assassination towards Mr. Aficionado, which we will not allow into the courtroom. Do you have any other questions?
We only have 20 minutes left, and I need to bring on the next witness.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow.
Okay. Next witness. Love it. Okay.
I call Chad.
Okay. The crowd is gasping again. This is
He
fascinating.
is on trial.
That's Cousin Chad. It's a serious
Cousin Chad
proceeding.
You tasked yourself to teach your cousin Seth all about Christmas. Did you know?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. There have been numerous times where I have received messages that says, "Hey, Seth can't join us, or he didn't watch this movie. Can you please jump on and talk to us about it?" Is that correct?
That is correct. It's happened numerous times. Yes.
So I ask you, when did he become a seasonal sophomore?
My thought in making him a seasonal sophomore, and when you're questioning the witness, you shouldn't really give such an open-ended answer. It might backfire. The problem with this is he became a seasonal sophomore because he started at zero. He knew nothing. And he went from that to learning a lot. And he certainly was enough to graduate from a festive freshman to a seasonal sophomore, because where he was at day 100 and day 0 were vastly different. I did see growth. He found love. He found where he would call me and send me pictures of Christmas decorations, go to a store and see something, or send me a pumpkin spice or whatever. So he was getting festive. He was getting in the spirit. So I do think that his graduation to a seasonal sophomore was more than justified. And I think that's without question. He was vastly changed.
So I would like to remind you of a conversation we had in May of 2024.
Objection, hearsay.
I'll allow it.
Oh, wow. He's going to allow it.
We discussed possibly having a test for Seth to
Yes, we
move
did.
on to as a seasonal sophomore. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, we did.
That is correct. We discussed that we would bring on you would bring on past guests to ask questions of Seth and see if he remembered anything. If he
Correct.
remembered, for example, Alonzo brought him 3 or 4 movies to watch. Did he remember some things about those? I was going to come in and ask questions about some of the stuff we discussed. Scott from Christmas Morning was going to talk about. We were going to have him ask questions about music. Bran was going to come on and discuss, all the things that he talked about. That was the plan, correct?
Right. Correct. That was the plan. Yes.
Correct. I too have screenshots of this conversation. We
Wow.
talked about that.
Wow. This is a major breakthrough and a bit creepy.
So
In fairness, my cousin did fall into a well when he was younger. His memory's a little shoddy. I was worried about that, but I'm sorry. Go on. It was a deep well.
I am going to see if I can present my screen here.
Whoa. Okay. I feel like I am on trial too.
I
Seth.
can't even imagine what texts are going to come.
That idiot didn't show up again.
Your Honor,
Okay,
I'm not
he's-
sure he's laid the proper foundation for these exhibits.
So
That's right. I don't know that I want my text on here. Are these okay, Joe?
these are texts that we had between myself and Chad. I said to him, we were talking about something else, about a 6-hour drive from me, but I said, I have an idea for a show before your hiatus. You should give Seth a Christmas test to see what he has learned. As you can see, Chad's response was, oh, that's a great idea. We started
Nice guy.
planning on some things and times we could talk about it and do it.
Okay.
I said the questions could be about what he watched, experienced, learned, etc. For example, show him the photo of Tyler Hines and ask him, does he know who he is?
Right.
And then, of course, he brags about his new house. So obviously, the Christmas Cousin podcast is making quite a bit of money.
Hey, Your Honor,
Later on, so
counsel is inferring for the jury that just because my client didn't take a test that he says only my client should be exposed to, not himself, not the cousin, just because he didn't take the test, he shouldn't advance. This is unfair.
Please
I'm
bring up
aware
that-
of what's
that
happening, Bob, but thank you. Yes.
Please bring up that evidence one more time, Chad, because we still have
yes.
one more conversation to go.
Okay. Wow.
So
Okay.
he said a week or so later on May 22nd.
Why'd I give you
Hey,
my
Joe,
number?
I love
mean,
this
is
idea,
great.
but I'm not going to be able to get this done before we go on summer break. He's just so swamped with all these things. And I said, well, it's your show. I'm only throwing out ideas. So here's where I'm going to argue that Seth should never have become a seasonal sophomore. The plan was to have this quiz for Seth that didn't happen. And why? Because Chad had to go surfing. That's it. That is the reason why it didn't happen.
Wow.
We had a conversation. It was going to happen that if Seth passed the test, he would become a seasonal sophomore. Did that test ever happen? No.
It did
So,
not
so
happen.
Your
I
Honor,
did go surfing.
Your Honor,
though.
I advocate that we throw the book at cousin Chad.
Well, Seth is just a pawn in this game.
Wow.
He did accept an illegal promotion to seasonal sophomore.
Yeah. Yeah, Shay.
But if we look at the evidence, I think the real crime here comes from cousin Chad for not doing his job.
Oh my!
So I
I don't
would
like how this is
recommend-
going at all. Remove Joe from the courtroom right now.
I recommend that Seth become
Bailiff.
step back to a festive freshman, only because he didn't pass a test that his cousin failed to give him. And then we have to put on the trial of Chad. I rest.
Fascinating. Lee, Bran, I see both of you. Your minds are blown with this. It's way early in the morning for this. We've got 15 minutes left. There's a lot of ground to cover. I'm going to quickly go. Lee, what are your thoughts? I see you're just dumbstruck with this development.
Here's my take on all of this. And, Seth, you've You've missed a lot. You've learned a lot. We've learned a lot from you. When you look back, Christmas is about the memories and the feelings, as you just stated. What type of memories and what type of I'll use words like nostalgia and traditions have really come out of this last 2 years, 374 seasons of the Christmas Cousins podcast. What's the tradition? What's changed now versus 5 years ago? And I think that's really the answer to this whole trial. Is have we created something that's gonna to move forward, remember the past, but grow as you move into the future?
Yeah, well, I think there's room. There's always room for growth and bettering oneself, of course. But as far as the tree and decorating, it kind of lumps into all that. I didn't completely abandon it. Obviously, I have my sunglass collection that I'm trying to adorn. I have a tree. I don't know if you noticed that. I mean, there is a tree there. Sorry.
Look at that tree over his shoulder in March. Wow, Your Honor,
Yeah,
that's
still up. I mean, and there's other things. I mean, at a quick I have an ornament right here. I mean, who has an ornament just sitting right on their desk or something like that? Or two ornaments, excuse me. So
very convenient.
But as far as traditions, I mean, the big one is doing something, a big Christmas Day event with as a family. Whether it be mine or other people's family. So that is something that'll stick. But I don't want to get away from the decorating. Some people do trees. Some people do, real ones, artificial ones. Some people do porcelain ones, whatever. But
what do you do, Seth?
I have other decorations. I have some scented candles in the Christmas scents.
Okay.
A throw.
And you never
rug.
had this before the podcast started, correct?
Never.
Is it because you were afraid of little flames or because you just weren't involved with Christmas?
A combination of both.
Okay,
So,
don't blame you. You are in Chicago, the Great Fire of Chicago of 1867. I understand.
yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, the whole process of, I know typically we start earlier. So around September, we'll start doing stuff and things. So that's me getting into it, obviously with a little push and some coaxing, but starting to establish traditions. So nothing.
So you
happens
have
overnight.
some new traditions. So because we're running low on time, before we move on to Bob's statement here and Bob's argument, because we're looking good on time for the hour. Judge Bran, do you have anything questions or clarifications that you need before we go ahead to the defense's arguments here?
I think the only question that I had coming out of Mr. Aficionado's examination of you, Chad, which was interesting. Seth, were you aware of any potential tests?
I wasn't.
Okay.
I'm not sure what that text thread that they had going. So.
You're not privy to that text.
No, I would just assume they did it behind my back, sir.
Interesting. Okay.
Your own cousin
I believe
behind your back.
That's the only other question that I had before Bob.
Interesting.
Seth, just to clarify real quick, you start your traditions in September with stuff and things. Is that what that was?
Well,
And
started
things like
preparing for the seasonal. We have upcoming Halloween.
I think
and
he meant.
Thanksgiving.
I think he meant festive stuff and holiday things.
Yes, we start getting into that
Halloween.
mindset.
Halloween is great Christmas.
Remember that the podcast is called the Christmas Cousins, not the Halloween Cousins.
Oh, interesting. Okay, Bob, you are up. Take it home. Take it home, Bob.
Speaking of Christmas cousins, Chad, can you tell me how many episodes you've had?
200. This is our 204th. Thank you for asking. One better than the next.
And what did you discuss on episode 1?
We discussed how I wanted to take Cousin Seth through a journey to share my love of the holidays, the seasons, and particularly the Christmas season, and take him for a journey to see how he felt about it, just to get him more involved with it.
So, arguably, you spoke about Christmas.
Right? On day one, yes, we did.
And how about on episode 2?
Episode 2, we did discuss Christmas. Yes, we did, and that was early
in
September.
Episode 10,
10 was Christmas related, correct?
Yeah, in episode 50.
That was punk rock
Please
music.
land the
In
plane.
episode
Please land the plane
100.
Yes.
So you have spoken about Christmas with Seth 202 times?
At least.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
This is on air.
because
On
I
air.
have been on episodes that have dealt with Halloween. We watched a Hallmark movie that was not a Christmas movie. You got the Christmas aficionado to watch a Hallmark movie that wasn't Christmas related.
I believe there are also a few episodes, Chad, that Seth was not able to make it on.
All right, I'll
at
give you
all.
100.
That's true. Right. There's no Christmas talk when he wasn't there. You're right.
190 episodes. And so would you say as a Christmas podcaster, are you an expert in Christmas?
I'm just a fan. I'm just a devotee of the season, as they say.
So probably more advanced or more maybe exceptional than on Christmas?
Our collective grandmother, Bubby, did say we were both exceptional growing up. If that's what you mean. Thank you. Seth, how is Bubby? I haven't heard from her in years. Is she okay? She hasn't texted me
I will
back.
get you that update. Now is not the time nor the place.
Is there a reason why she hasn't texted me back?
Something happened.
We'll talk. We'll
We
talk.
should call her.
I think.
Yeah, can we call her, Seth?
Was it a tree related?
Yeah, she had a tree, and we never heard from Bubby again. Okay, so
Beautiful.
Okay, but thank you for bringing up our grandmother.
Exceptional in advance on your study of Christmas. Have you gained awareness or insight from your podcast and your guests?
Is this me you're asking, or Seth? Me.
You're
Oh, I certainly have. I've learned every episode something, and taught something every episode.
yeah.
I learned about my grandmother. It was terrible. Poor Seth.
So you'd say from your podcast where you started out as a devotee, advanced knowledge, and you've only gained additional knowledge about Christmas through your discussions, through your guests.
Being Cousin Seth's cousin is just an aggrandizement of every facet of life. I've gained every time I've spoken to him something.
Is it a logical deduction to believe that Seth has gained the same awareness or insight into Christmas that you have that you and your listeners have?
Asking me about Seth's mindset, I don't think that would be admissible. I don't know. And his mindset has always been a mystery to even himself.
Logical deduction. You telling me you started out as a devotee, you've spoken about Christmas, we know at least 190 times with Seth. And from that, you've had guests on, and from your listeners, you have gained knowledge and insight into Christmas. Isn't it a logical deduction that Seth sitting there has gained that same insight and knowledge?
While being somewhat reductive, one might glean that answer, yes.
And how many school days are there? Do you know?
From the beginning of the year until the last day, Bob.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
So
180.
if I were to say that by your intense scrutiny and study of Christmas, Seth has more than qualified to be a junior on the subject of Christmas. Would you agree?
It's not for me to decide. I promoted him to seasonal sophomore without a test, possibly illegally, and that is for the judge here to decide, not for me. That's why we wired him $100,000 before the episode. Hope that came through.
It came through, baby.
Nice.
I would just clarify that if Seth has done less work this year, why would he become a Jolly Junior? Why would Chad promote him to that? And I think that's.
I wish I could
that
call Mr. Aficionado, put him on the stand, because as when you were a freshman and then you became a sophomore and a junior, I would say you tended to slack off as each year went by in terms of your intensity of school and studying.
I doubt it.
Wow.
I am a senior Christmas aficionado.
Wow, this is getting good. This is getting very heated. Wow, I like this. Okay, so let's wrap it up here because we're going to get to Judge Bran's verdict. We're right on time. Joe or Bob, is there any last one sentence or so, we're going to have to keep it tight, that you want to just have the last thought in our minds as Bran makes his decision?
So here's where I will end the conversation.
Okay.
So Seth illegally took a promotion as seasonal sophomore.
Interesting.
Only because his cousin failed him. He failed to give him a test because he would rather go surfing
Can I object?
than do his podcast. That is a Christmas podcast intended to have listeners to earn money, a commercialized podcast, even though his defense counsel will say, oh, he's doing it for the holidays. No, they are doing it because they have listeners.
Over 40 million at last count.
According to them, over 40 million listeners, which is an amazing amount of listeners.
Thank you.
Particularly for not soliciting any of them.
Right.
Reaching out to, so
Never asked for a dime.
Seth has never solicited.
And
Not the show, his body perhaps.
so I would just say, if there is not going to be a test, then anybody can be a seasonal sophomore. Anybody can be a jolly junior. They can just have Chad say it.
Hallelujah.
If there is not going to be some sort of test to figure that out, then what are we here for?
Your Honor, I just one quick statement. I want to say that the post office is considered an official branch of the federal government, formed 22 days after the Declaration of Independence. Furthermore, U.S. postal laws and regulations make it a prison offense to deliver mail to the wrong party. I have 3 letters addressed to Seth Greenwald, Jolly Jr., USA. These letters have been delivered to Seth by the Post Office Department. I submit, Your Honor, that this is positive proof that a competent federal authority recognizes Seth Greenwald to be a Jolly Jr. I have further
I won't see
exhibits,
that proof.
Your Honor, but
I object. I don't see that proof.
Interesting. Okay, so that's your last argument. Okay, before we render the decision, we have about 4 minutes. Lee, is there any last thing, very quickly, short, that you want to throw in there for the judge as he's considering?
Whatever the outcome, I will either carry your casket or carry you on my shoulders in victory.
Wow.
I wish you luck.
thank you.
The true king of all superfans. Judge Bran, you have heard it all. You've heard more than you've wanted to. You've questioned the whole time a lot of things, whether he's done enough, not done enough. You've also questioned why you agreed to be on here, which is probably the right question to ask. Here is the main thing. It is your turn now, your time to shine. I hope you're not shy about being on the mic, Bran, because this is all about you. Right now, Judge Bran is going to render his verdict. Do you have any last questions yourself?
I have one question for Seth. Seth,
Question.
do you feel like from year 1 to 2, you have learned the same as you did from 2 to 3?
Ooh.
No, I think I've learned more. I've had bigger, more personal experiences in this second season, sort of my sophomore year, and which has allowed me to expand and kind of think bigger, and also gave me the confidence to kind of go out and, I guess, make these things happen and kind of commit. What am I trying to say?
We never know. That's the beauty of the show.
Yes.
What you said is enough. Don't hurt yourself.
Yes.
What you said is enough. What you said is
I
enough.
have a tendency of
Here's what I
rambling
believe.
on.
Here's what I believe.
Show the Seth sticker.
Okay.
What I believe.
Are
we
you
have
giving
done
your
here
verdict,
today-
Bran? Okay.
Yes, I am.
Here we go.
What I believe we have done here today is 2 things. One, we have proven that Chad is a bad host. He agreed to give a test. He did not follow through on the test. I do not believe that it should be looked on negatively to Seth that Chad did not follow through with test.
Fair.
What I also believe that we have proven here today is that Mr. Aficionado is wanting to for Seth's Christmas to be just like his Christmas. And because it is not, Mr. Aficionado believes that means that there has been no growth. What I believe has been proven here today is that there has indeed been growth. There has indeed been growth. While it may look different than mine or anyone else here, it is his growth. And for that reason, I am going to suggest that Cousin Seth move up to Jolly Jr.
What a wise and sage jurist.
Oh my God.
This
will
is
be
mind-blowing.
Oh my
The
God.
appeal will be coming up. The judge has spoken. This is what it's all about. He is an expert in the field. He has rendered his decision. No test needed. He agreed on 2 points. Number 1, Cousin Chad is a fantastic host. No, that's what I heard. Now, when I edit it, I do the editing later, Brandon. It's all good.
Oh, sure.
Number
okay,
2.
well, here's it's in my voice. Fantastic.
Thank you. Saved me about 20 minutes. Thank you. And he has rendered Cousin Seth. Let's all join in solidarity. We may not all agree, but we can all do this together. Cousin Seth, welcome. Jolly Jr. Wow. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
I wish I had a red coat to give you.
Yes, we will send that to you. We will leave. If we do have 30 seconds, Bran, I would love to show you seeing Cousin Seth. It will be fast. Looking at Joe pouring a video of rancid eggnog. Would you like to see this as we end the show?
I would like to see this.
Here we go. This
you
is
don't
how we're
wanna
going to end
see
it.
it.
Cousin Seth, the Jolly Jr. Enjoy. Here we go. This is beautiful. This is rancid eggnog that Joe found. Here we go, Seth.
Oh my God. Why?
Back, Seth.
Oh, thank
right.
you. That's how we have to
Is
end
that my rite of passage?
Yes, you survived
Another
that.
year of that.
You are as red as Judge Brand's jacket right now. Let me end this right now. This has been a momentous episode. We're at the hour mark. I want to thank everybody who's been here. As we say, if the eggnog doesn't make you sick, you must acquit. Live by the candy cane, die by the candy cane, Cousin Seth. This has been one amazing episode. And that's what happened. You were a Jolly Junior. You were just going to be on a high all day. I love this. Everybody, check out Joe the Christmas Aficionado's highly monetized YouTube channel. Everybody, check out the Festive Foreign Film Fans podcast with Bob. Excellent job, gentlemen. Cousin Lee, king of all superfans, doesn't ask anything, just enjoys and makes things better. Thank you so much. Bran, a huge thank you for joining us middle of the day. Everyone check out, if you already haven't, Deck the Hallmark podcast, fantastic. Christmas morning podcast, as we were all huge fans here. Cousin Seth, thank you for allowing me to be your cousin. As something that happened in genealogy, but you still allow me. And everybody, thank you, Bran. This is fantastic.
Hardest judge ever.
Wow. Judge
Yes,
Wapner of
thank
our
you.
times. You've heard of Judge Judy. This is Barrister Bran, everyone. This has been a great episode. Thank you all so much. If you could just stay on for 1 minute after so this downloads, I am going to thank you. Let us know your thoughts at Christmas Cousins Pod on Facebook, Instagram, ChristmasCousinsPod@gmail.com. Over 40-something daily million listeners at our last made-up count and growing every day. Thank you, everyone. This is great. Wow. Mind-blowing stuff. Seth, look at that smile. Look at that smile.
I feel good. I feel real good.